y'all. Welcome back to For Lifelong Love Lessons with Erika Sorrell and
I am Vernon Sorrell Jr. Welcome back. Now, today, before we get started, we want to make sure that you all know that you can like and subscribe on YouTube for Lifelong Love Lessons. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we really want the followers. We really believe that God has given us this vision for this that can help many married couples because we know that there are people, we struggled. We struggled some years, so we know that there are people that are struggling. So make sure that you like on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, like our videos. And then not only that, but if you have any questions or concerns that you would like for us to address,
please send them.
then we don't mind addressing those. And as a matter of fact, we did get a concern that was sent to us. What was it on?
It was on Instagram.
On Instagram, we did it. We did get a concern. We are going to address that concern at the end of this episode. So whenever you guys send in any questions or concerns, we'll make sure that we do address those at the end of the episodes that we have.
So the last episode, we spoke about choosing each other on a daily basis. So make sure that you are out here choosing one another each and every day of your marriage.
And we know on these streets it can be very difficult.
I need these streets.
But again, we want to make sure that you know that you should make your spouse a priority on a daily basis. One thing that happens here at our house, and my wife, she I think it bothers her a lot. I will go to sleep right back here. I'll go to sleep on our couch back here. And when I do, I take my shoes off. And when I take my shoes off,
Daily.
I got a habit of walking over my shoes.
He wakes up, steps over the shoes, goes to the bedroom, and goes to sleep again.
Well, I'm half asleep at the time, so, but I leave my shoes there. But she may joke about it, but I don't. But she'll pick them up for me.
Right. Because I don't want shoes in my family room. So.
She don't want shoes in her family room. But to me, that's an act of kindness that she's performing.
Right.
And she's giving me grace in it. Grace. And she's saying, you know what, regardless of your flaws, because I think that probably is a flaw that I have, regardless of the flaws.
He does it daily, every night.
But regardless, you still pick me.
I still pick you, and I still pick the shoes up. And the thing is I don't pick them up and just throw them in the room or throw them somewhere. We have shoe boxes, a stack of boxes for each one of us that we put our shoes in, and so I will make sure that I put that, like he has, his Air Force Ones or his Jordans or his dress shoes or whatever, and so I do try to put them where he has them. So it's not like I have an attitude about it or anything.
Right. So just make sure that you are making your spouse a priority on a daily, because love is a choice, and you have to choose each other constantly every day. You got to keep making that choice to be in love, to love what you want to say, it's in love, or love that person, or
just
like
make sure
that
you're
person.
doing it for a lifetime.
You got to make it a priority, because it does get difficult when the trials come in.
Right.
And this is one thing that we're going to talk about on today is part of the vows. If you didn't notice throughout episodes, we've been talking about we've been going through the vows like I take you, that's a choice. We set the foundation, then we talked about it being a choice. Now we're getting into the point of where marriage can be a struggle, where when hard times come in, we didn't go over for good or bad, because I think everybody's comfortable with good and you have a lot of fun. In the bad times, you got to go back home. But something that's personal to us is in sickness and in health.
Yeah.
And before we get into it, you may be out there thinking, oh, we're young. We don't have to worry about it. We're Superman, Superwoman. Nothing bad is going on. We're both in perfect health. But you have to be prepared for this, because life starts to life.
Yeah.
And when life starts to life, then you just don't know what curveball
you'll be thrown.
You'll be thrown. And it's very important that we understand this part of the vows. This is the meat part of it, the rough part of it, in sickness and in health. Are you prepared that if something happens in your marriage, are you prepared? Have you built a strong enough foundation where when that sickness, and it's kind of like the three little pigs.
Exactly.
The three little pigs, and one built his house with straw.
The other with what was it? Oh Lord, I can't even think. And I told the story 50 big times in my classroom.
But regardless, the one that built the house on that solid foundation, when the big bad wolf came to blow it down,
That's the one that stood.
then that's the one that stood. So you got to make sure that you can't build it on straw. You can't build it on a weak foundation. You have to build it on a strong foundation, because when good times and bad times come in,
when they come, and they will come, and they come hard too.
And then when sickness and health. So today we're going to be talking about, for episode 3, in sickness and in health. And this is very personal to us because of the journey that we've been on. So hopefully this will help someone in their journey.
So we talked about, or actually in one of our episodes, I did talk about being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and what I thought initially was going on. I honestly couldn't figure it out, but that's when I started reading the article about Tamia, the R&B artist, and I said that's how I felt. And so we went through the whole, okay, I need to go to the first doctor, a primary care physician, and then they recommended that I go to a neurologist. And then we went through the whole, laying down in the machine that makes all that noise. And
the MRI.
The MRI, but oh my gosh. All the noise that it made back then, and how long I had to actually be in the MRI machine. And then trying to wait for the actual diagnosis and what was going to happen. And I was like, okay, well, fine. If it is MS, I'll be all right. It's, I'll take the medicine, whatever the doctor says. I'll do whatever he says I'm supposed to do, and I'll be fine. And I honestly really thought everything was going to be okay. Didn't know that, things were going to get as bad as they have gotten or had gotten. But I do think, in my mind, I just didn't accept it. I didn't accept the whole, oh, this is going to happen, that'll happen. And I mean, I've heard people actually say, oh, you'll be crippled one day, you'll be in a wheelchair.
Didn't someone...
Yeah.
Didn't someone... this is the craziest thing ever, and I'm sorry to cut you off,
No,
but this how marriages are challenged. Someone actually said that one day you would be crippled and that I was going to leave.
Right.
And I was like, why would people do this? And that's why in your marriage you got to be prepared, you got to be prayed up, you have to be intentional with each other, because when these things hit, it's not just between her. It wasn't just between you and I.
Right.
It was other people that was projecting that you would be crippled one day and that I would leave. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Why would people do that? Why would people say that kind of stuff? But this is where we are, and that's why you gotta take these vows serious, because you just never know. I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're okay. But no, honestly, I thought I would be okay. I thought, hey, it'll just, maybe it'll slow me down. But honestly, let me think about it real quick. Let me be super, super honest. In the back of my mind, I was like, oh no, I'm still nice looking. I'm still working, because honestly, like it had been going on for a couple of years. And so I was thinking in the back of my mind, okay, well, now that we know what it is, we can know what to do with it. We can know how to fix it. I didn't know it was something that I was going to have to live with for the rest of my life, honestly. I just didn't think that way, because I'm thinking, okay, like I said, take the medicine and everything will be okay, because, hey, you're fine now.
Right.
You just feel a little different. I mean, I went through some more years after I was diagnosed of still working in corporate America. And then I started teaching school, and I taught school for like 10, 11 years, thinking, oh, it's going to be all right. And then one day, it wasn't. And I didn't know it was going to get like it had got. I mean, I had fallen on kids in the classroom.
Yeah, well, your co-workers have started to realize
that... they started to recognize, hey, why are you limping? And I'm like, limping? I'm fine. I'm not limping. And one day I was like, ooh, I am limping. Okay.
It's like we were going on with life and not, I don't want to say accepting, because we're not accepting that diagnosis, but we went on.
I just didn't want it to bring us down.
Yeah, we went on ignoring it and not really putting any emphasis on it. But backtrack to back when you were first diagnosed.
Right.
And
I remember receiving the phone call and the neurologist calling and saying, "Hey, Miss Sorrell, you have multiple sclerosis. It is, I can definitely say that you have it, judging by your MRI, reading the lesions on your brain and things of that nature." And so then I remember calling Brand. So I'm at work. I closed my office door and I sat there for a minute, and then I got on the phone and I called Bernice while he was at work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that when you love someone, it's just from a male perspective. When you love someone and you took the vow to be the provider, the protector, and all of that, that really, when she called me in my office, it really hit home for me, because here we are, young in marriage. What year was it about?
it was going on our 8th year.
So what year? 2000 what?
4.
2004.
Right.
So 8 years in marriage, and here we are. We have these big plans to, to have the houses and take the kids different places on vacations and do all this stuff. Then all of a sudden, we're hit with this diagnosis. And when she called me, I don't know why she called me on my job to tell me this, because
Because that's when I found out.
I ended up having to close my door at the office. I was working at Men's Warehouse at the time, and I ended up having to close the door of my office, and I ended up crying. And I cried a long time. I don't know if any of my coworkers came in. I believe so. I think
You ain't got one.
yeah. And but I cried because that was devastating, because as a man, I felt helpless. I felt like I felt hopeless because I couldn't do anything. And this is what, sometimes in marriage, this is what men do. We want to fix.
Yeah.
We want to fix. Want to fix. And don't get me wrong. Hey, it's a good thing to do all the fix me ups around the house. Go fix the door, fix the toilet, fix all of that. But I wanted to fix her because I didn't want her to be broke. I just, and if anything, let me be broke so that she wouldn't be broke. And I'm thinking about our kids and how's that going to look. All of this is just racing through my mind. And I really cried today because it was a devastating blow in our marriage that she would get this diagnosis of multiple sclerosis.
Right. And I had not turned, that was the year I was going to turn 30, but I had not turned 30 yet. And we were in the midst of building a house. So I'm thinking, I'm about to get another raise. Couple of years, I'll get a promotion, everything will be good, and then we get this diagnosis, and I'm like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? And actually, the neurologist took me out of work for a week, and he said, you need to go, I need to send you to the hospital, and I need you to go and take a steroid treatment, infusion actually, for 5 days. And so I'm going to put you in the hospital. And I was like, whoa, no. We can't put me in the hospital. Because at the time, the kids were 2, 3, and 4. No. Actually, a little bit older than that. But I was like, no, we can't. I can't do hospital. How am I supposed to explain to my kids that I have to go to the hospital? We can't do that. So we talked about it. We discussed it. He actually let me do outpatient infusion for steroids for a week. And me with my crazy self, I'm like, all right, well, I did my week. I'm going back to work. So Monday morning, I get up and I report to Shell and go to my office. And my supervisor came in and he was like, Erika, why are you here? And I'm like, because I'm at work. What you mean why I'm here? And he said, you're not supposed to be here. Your doctor said you can't come back to work for like a month. And I'm like, okay, nobody told me that part. And I actually had to leave, called Brian, and I was like, hey, I gotta go back to the house because they told me I'm out for work for a month. And again, in the back of my mind, I felt better after I took the steroid treatment. I did feel better. But I'm still thinking, all right, every once in a while, you take steroid treatment, you take medication, everything will be great. And
kind of just going through the motions because you want
everything to be great.
You want it to be great. And again, we're young. We're not older like we are now.
Right.
We're young in marriage, and it's not supposed to happen this way. Like my uncle say, it's not supposed to be this way, as my uncle would say. But this happens, and this is why we're telling this story today, because we want you all to know that your marriage got to be strong, and not just that, but in these times,
Right.
your marriage becomes stronger in these times. So you cannot give up. You might be in a situation right now with a spouse, maybe facing some type of sickness. It doesn't have to be multiple
Yeah.
sclerosis. It
anything.
could be diabetes. It could be blood pressure. It could be mental illness. Whatever it is, you may be in it with your spouse. But we want to encourage you with our story today. Hold on, hang on,
And hold on to one another.
hold on to one another. So how did MS affect you physically, mentally, and spiritually? Because I know for years, you know, after I kind of understood it, I was like, oh no, we can do it, we can do it. But how did it affect you?
So, like I said, initially in the beginning, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll just take the medicine, everything will be okay. But years later, I believe in 2000, probably 11 or 12, I started feeling a little bit different. That's when I started noticing I would have to limp a little more. Not have to, but I would limp a little bit more at the end of the day, because I prided myself in my shoes. Um, and I had a pair of Uggs that I love, not the boots, but the actual shoes. And they were kind of like clogs, I guess. And I couldn't wear them all day like I used to. And so at the end of the day, I would put on, like if I had car rider duty or bus duty or something like that, I would put on slippers. But I had slippers that looked like boots, as long as my pants were long enough. And so I would put those on at the end of the day. And it would give me relief. And so some of the kids would be like, oh, Miss Sorrell, sometimes you walk a little bit slower. And I'm like, oh, Lord, now I got 7-year-olds that recognize that I'm not walking is the same or what have you, and I'm still thinking it's gonna be all right, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. But I started recognizing that things were slowing down. I started recognizing that I couldn't remember things the way that I used to. I started recognizing that, okay, something is not right physically, something is not right mentally, something is not right emotionally, and I'm like, what's going on? What is the problem? And then that's when I actually started accepting. And I'm not saying accepting as far as like laying down and I'm just gonna let the illness overtake me, but that's when I started recognizing you're not Superwoman anymore like you thought you were. Like you actually have to get rest. And we were like go on the go all the time. It was like as soon as I got off of work, we were coming in and somebody had basketball practice, somebody had football practice, Kennedy had gymnastics or something. And so it was like, all right, we got to do this.
Our church Bible study.
And then we had to, and then we still had to do church on top of all of that. But I'm still thinking it's gonna be all right. I'm gonna be able to fix it. But then I started recognizing that even fatigue started setting in, and I'm trying to figure out why am I so tired all the time? Why am I so like want to lay down? Why? And I wouldn't lay down. I just in the back of my mind, I'm like, I am tired. I need to get somewhere and take a nap. Mind you, this is a person, I don't take naps. What am I going to take a nap for? I don't sit down. I'm a teacher. I'm standing up all day long. I'm moving around. Then when we get home, the kids, we got to do this. We got to get to church. We got to go to practice. We got to go and go and go and go and go. And it started dawning on me that I remember reading about fatigue. I remember understanding or thinking I understood, but I really didn't understand. I really didn't grasp the concept of you're actually tired. Your body is actually talking to you and telling you, you need to stop. You need to take a minute. You need to chill out for a moment. But and until I started falling more in the classroom and I couldn't understand, I didn't even tell him. I didn't even tell administration. I didn't wipe a kid out, but I was real close. I would fall in the restroom at school. I remember specifically, I went to Kroger one day, I went to Randall's another day, and teachers laugh and talk and joke. We keep UTIs just because we don't go to the restroom often because we got to stay in the classroom. But so it had gotten to the point where I needed to go to the restroom really, really bad at each grocery store, 2 different days. And I'm in the restroom and I fell in both restrooms at both grocery stores.
It's her first time telling me this.
And that's when I started recognizing, okay, this is really different. This is really
Yeah.
something I need to actually start to understand even more than the books, than the articles, than things that I was trying to do my own research on. I wasn't sharing it because I'm an only child, and nothing against him. Not that he ever made it where I couldn't come and talk to him, but I'm just thinking in the back of my mind, you got to handle this.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do.
No. Since you're saying that you were trying to handle it on your own,
Right.
how did it affect you in our marriage? How did it affect you when you started realizing the mental, the physical toll that it was taking on you? How do you think it affected you in the marriage?
I probably lashed out a little bit more because I wasn't sharing, because I felt like it was going to be a burden to him. I felt like it would be a burden to the kids because I didn't want their lives to change. I didn't want the things that we were doing to change because of something that not that I went out and got, but something that just I was diagnosed with, and I thought I could handle it on my own. And so it was just in my mind, no, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, because you've been doing it. It's and I didn't want it to change the dynamic of our relationship. I didn't want it to change the dynamic of our marriage, our friendship, and I didn't want it to change the lives of our kids. So that's why I didn't do too much sharing.
So you were saying how you didn't want MS to affect us in our marriage, and you didn't want it to affect our kids. And as a husband, when you were first diagnosed with it, of course I was down about it. And then being a man, it's like, okay, well, what we're gonna do now? how we move past this? Because again, as a man, what I want to do,
fix everything.
I want to fix it. So early on, it wasn't really noticeable. Right. It wasn't noticeable early on because, okay, well, after the initial tears and crying about it or whatever, and okay, we're gonna get through it or whatever. Being young, we decided that, okay, let's just move forward. And so over the years, I didn't really notice it, and then all of a sudden, I started to notice little things, and because I wanted to fix it, it kind of made me frustrated. Because I wanted to fix it, because I don't know if you remember, but I would tell you stuff like, oh, you can do it, don't worry about it. It's in your mind. Right. And Lord, I'm so sorry that I did this to my wife. I'm so sorry, and I'm sorry that I did this. I've told you this before, that I apologize for things that I put you through because I wasn't understanding what you was going through. So I remember we would go, I'm like, no, Erika, all you got to do is do some exercise. Do some exercise, you'll be okay. You'll be okay, just exercise. Well, put your mind to it, and you can do it if you put your mind to it. Those are all the things that I was saying. And I didn't realize what I was doing to her, because as a husband, I wanted to fix her. And then on the other side of that, she wasn't really telling me. Now, I don't know, maybe you weren't telling me because you knew how I felt about it. Maybe you wasn't really explaining to me because you knew I just wanted to fix and didn't want to. I wasn't listening. I wasn't hearing what you were saying.
Well, in your defense, I did not tell you because of that reason. And like I said, I just didn't tell you because I didn't want it to affect us. I'm like, that's not the way our marriage is supposed to be. You're a little girl and you're growing up and you're figuring out how your life is going to be. And so you writing the once upon a time story for yourself. This was not supposed to be part of our once upon a time. And so I figured I could fix it myself. I figured I could.
Oh, so you would fix it too?
I'm a mama. So yeah, I fix stuff. When something wrong, I'm going to fix it. But no, seriously, I just thought I could get past it. Or I could,
because
it'll get better.
Yeah, because we didn't really see the effects of it early. Yeah, we had the MRI. We had the diagnosis. We had the MRI. Right. and it showed the lesions and all. We really didn't really understand it at the time because looking at her physically,
I look fine.
She looked fine. And like I said, I started noticing little things and how she was slowing down, and I'm getting frustrated behind it because I'm like, well, we're supposed to be on the I-10 by 10, and here she is dragging, and I'm getting mad about it because you wasn't on time, and I'm like, man, what is going on with her? Why can't she be on time? And then look, this is how crazy it works in marriage, and that's why you got to be prepared for this. So we'll wake up and we would say we're going to go to the park at a certain time. We're supposed to be outside, so she don't like outside. And then when you have multiple sclerosis and the heat does affect you. So she doesn't like to be outside. So I'm an outdoors person. I love to be outside. I love to go to the park. Let's go play with the kids. Let's go to Herman Park, get on the train, all this stuff. And so I said, we're going to be on the I-10 by 10. We're going to leave at 10 o'clock. So I get up, I'm getting ready. I'm trying to get the kids ready, and I'm knowing that she ain't going to like what I put the kids in.
At all.
But I'm trying to get the kids ready because she's dragging. And I'm thinking, you know what? No, we got to be somewhere. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting here, I'm hiding in fist grease. I'm mad because I'm like, man, we're supposed to be leaving. And here it is, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock, and we still ain't know, and I'm pouting mad. Then all of a sudden she comes, okay, I'm ready. No, I'm mad now. But this is something we talk about. We talk to people about the seesaw effect.
Right.
The seesaw effect is how one person is happy-go-lucky, and the other person is kind of up, down. In your marriage, you can't be on that seesaw.
Right.
Because at some point in time, somebody's going to jump off. And when this person down here jumps off, the other person comes crashing down. But so we want to warn you, be careful about the seesaw. Try to get balanced where you're on one accord.
Right.
And when you're on one accord, then you can start to understand and communicate. So then as a caregiver, I'm thinking, as a protector of the family, I'm thinking, no, I'm supposed to take care of the family in this way. I'm not supposed to take care of her in this way because we're too young for this. We're not in our 60s, 70s. We're not in our 80s
we weren't even in our 40s.
Yeah, and it's like, man, no, this is not supposed to be this way. And then as a believer, we just kind of put it to the side. And one thing that I will say that I believe that as believers, we weren't mature enough to understand. What we said was, it is what it is.
Right.
We said that infamous, it is what it is. Instead of trusting God through it and praying and asking God for his wisdom and guidance through the whole thing. But one thing that you said to me that really floored me one day, it took me some time. And after time, I started to understand that I can't fix it. I started to realize that this is part of her journey. And because it's part of her journey, it's part of my journey. So rather than trying to fix her and not listening to what she's saying, I started to listen.
What was it that I said? I said, what was it?
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
But I started listening to what you were saying, and I really started to pay attention. And when I started to pay attention, that's when I felt very remorseful because of what I had put you through in all the years. And I'm talking points of our marriage where our marriage was really being tested through this time, because we don't really talk about how the effects of it.
Right.
But the effects of sickness, because that person can't be 100% of what they used to be.
Yeah.
And if you don't get to understand that, you can feel like in your marriage that you're giving, but this person is not giving. It's not because that person is not giving. It's because that person doesn't have it to give.
Yeah.
So what you said was, one day you said, I love you because you didn't leave. I love you, you didn't leave me. And I'm thinking, what kind of stuff is that? Why would you say you didn't leave me? Who leaves? And you said, because of what I'm going through, because of the MS, because I've slowed down, I can't do the things that I used to do. Life is different for us. And but you didn't leave. And I'm thinking, man, but then I start to realize when sickness does come upon people, when the marriage is challenged with sickness, and not just sickness, but with challenges, people easily walk away.
Can't take it.
As if you didn't make that vow in good and bad times, sickness and health, richer or poor.
Right.
When you make those vows, it is very important that you understand that you made a commitment to your person, to this person, to your wife, to your husband. You made a commitment. I made a commitment to you. And that commitment that we made on the day, on December 21st, 1996, was that no matter what happens, I'll be there with you. No matter what happens, no matter what sickness comes, rich or poor, my obligation, my commitment was to you. And you have to know that marriage will be challenged. And when the test of time comes, when life starts to happen, are you going to rise to the occasion and evolve? Evolve, because I'm thinking the caregiver just me, and I take care of the house, I go cut the grass, I make sure the yard is cut, make sure things are fixed around the house, I make sure I take care, when mama fussing and it don't work, then I come in and I bring the fist and, I make sure things get taken care of. I thought that's what it was about only. But then with multiple sclerosis, I realized that it's more than that. But you don't know it until you get into it. Right. I think we've grown a lot over the years. We've grown a lot in understanding multiple sclerosis, and I don't get frustrated because I used to get. I'm telling you, I get really frustrated because I'm like, no, you can do it. You can do it. What are you talking about? You tired? No, you're not tired. We didn't do anything. How are you tired? And we didn't do anything.
And that was the thing that I put on myself as well, because I'm like, why am I feeling so tired? And I didn't do anything. I got up. I went to work. I came home. I did what I always do. Like I've always gone to since before we got married. Mm-hmm. I've always worked. 10 years into marriage, well, okay, almost. But even after the diagnosis, 10, 15 years into marriage, I'm still working because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I went to college for. Mm-hmm. To get an education, to get a pretty good job. I had a pretty good job, then I got diagnosed. I'm like, no. I'm not supposed to be tired. I'm not supposed to let any of this come along. And then what's funny is we would go to gyms. Like whether Bubby or Sterling, even Kennedy when she started playing basketball, we would go to gyms and people would see us walking in arm in arm. And then we even got the comment of, oh, y'all so cute, y'all walking in arm in arm. I'm like, nah, I'm walking in arm in arm because I can't walk by myself. Mm-hmm. Like and because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm not getting on a walker, I'm not getting on a cane, I'm not getting in a wheelchair, any of that. Because it wasn't supposed to change the dynamic of our lives. It wasn't supposed to change the dynamic of our marriage or relationship.
Right.
So trying to be vulnerable, that was a struggle for me until one day we were going to the gap, because it was a while. Think about it. It was a while. I really didn't want to go anywhere.
Right.
And I got really, really bad.
Right.
When walking just on your arm wasn't good enough.
Right.
And so I had to actually, when you said, no, we're going to get a wheelchair. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to get a wheelchair. And the reason I didn't want to is because one day in the Galleria, you were pushing me and somebody was like, why is she in a wheelchair? I'm like, oh God, here we go. And being vulnerable to you allowed me to actually accept what was done. And again, not that we're, not believing and trusting God for a complete healing. But once I started being vulnerable to you, then I took the stress off of myself.
Oh, wow. So. Yeah. And I know that getting you to get that wheelchair was a challenge.
Yeah.
It was a very big challenge because at one point you just, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. First, it started with a walker.
Right.
And that, Lord Jesus Christ, that was a challenge in itself. And then once you got past the walker was actually given to us by a relative just to see if it would help out. But I started to realize that I had to offer you grace because I'm not the one that MS is affecting. It was you. So although we're as one, you have the physical effects of it, you have the mental effects of it, I have the effects of being there as your husband and as a caregiver. And I had to realize that I have to extend to her grace. I had to start learning to give you grace in these situations because I want. But it's like, but what did you want? And I think once we got to a point of me starting to realize, let me talk to her. And not just talk to her, let me listen and see what it is that she needs, to see what it is that she desires. And that way I can help you in it. Instead of, again, trying to fix you, I offered you grace so that way we could be okay.
Right. And then you allowed me to understand that I was not a burden.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I felt. I felt like, okay, if we go somewhere and I'm in a wheelchair, then he has to push me.
Yeah.
And so who really wants to be somewhere pushing somebody who, for all intents and purposes, looks like they're okay?
Yeah. Now, I decided that I would be present. I decided that I wanted to be present. I didn't want you to go through this by yourself because I'm your husband. And when we took that vow, it was for sickness and in health that I would be there. And I want to be there. I want to be present. Sometimes when people go through stuff, it can be an open door for cheating. It can be an open door for you to go out and do some things that you shouldn't be doing. Go out and drinking, doing whatever, because it's just so much. But I decided that I want to be present with you. And I made that choice. I made the choice because I love you and I care about you and I wanted to be there through whatever it was that so I guess what we're saying today is that if your spouse is facing something, be present with them. Whether it's a husband or the wife, you can't fix it. But what you can do is you can be present. You can be graceful in helping and giving assistance because that's what your spouse needs. Your spouse needs the grace because, yes, you're one, but that person is the one that's actually going through it.
And then also allow, because I did not let him in the beginning of the illness, allow that person to be there for you so that you don't have to endure it by yourself. Mm-hmm. So that you don't have to go through things by yourself. So that you don't have to think in the back of your mind, well, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to be a burden. And then you miss out on a lot of opportunities that you could have had. Because let's be honest, we'd leave a basketball game and go to the mall all the time. And the kids were excited about it. And then like I said, it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm church home.
And she didn't want to go.
Because I felt like I would be an embarrassment.
And I felt incomplete because, like, how do I go and I don't have my wife with me? How do I go and leave her behind? That's how I felt, and that's how you was making me feel because you didn't want to go. And I'm like, no, not. And I would decide, well, I'm not going to do it. We're just not going to go because I wanted her to be with us. And that's that going back to making the choice. You got to make the choice no matter what's going on. You got to make the choice. Whether it's sickness, health, whether it's good, bad, rich or poor, you got to make the choice that no matter what happens, I am going to be with my spouse.
Exactly.
And I'll be there to support whatever. If it's crying time, well, it's crying time. If it's get up and go time, it's get up and go time. But again, to offer you that grace, I think that was a pivotal point for me. And I stopped being so frustrated when I started to realize that no, she needs grace because I don't I don't understand it. I don't know what it's like to have MS. I know you explained about the fingers, how your fingers will be numb and tingling. I only know that when they hit my funny bone, then it goes away. But when you start to open up and share with me,
Right.
then I was able to understand. So, spouse, if you learn anything from this, open up, be vulnerable to allow your spouse to understand exactly where you are.
Exactly. Because if you don't, then you're walking in it all by yourself.
Right.
You feel like you don't have anybody with you.
And it shouldn't be that way.
At all. We do want you to recognize that we understand that in sickness and in health does not necessarily speak on multiple sclerosis or anything physical. It can also be mental issues or emotional issues that you're struggling with. We did receive a concern from a viewer, and she said that she was struggling with abandonment or had struggled with abandonment issues previously to her getting married. And so in her marriage now, she's recognizing that it was brought to her attention that she's treating her husband like she's his mother.
Yeah, now, this is something that happens in marriage because we experience this. And again, we're sharing for lifelong love lessons to help you all out in your marriages through some of our experiences. So I didn't understand this in the beginning. I think it's just a man thing. I don't think it has anything to do with her abandonment issues. It's just a man thing, which is, why do I have to report to you? Why you ask me where I'm going? Why you ask me how long I'm going to be there? What time I'm coming back? And this is just a man. This is a man's issue, and I believe that as men, we have to realize that when we took the vows, we became one. And if you believe in what the Bible says, the Bible in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, it says that you are no longer responsible for you. I'm no longer responsible for me. You're responsible for me. I'm responsible for you. Right. So whenever you're responsible for something, you want to make sure that it's taken care of. Mm-hmm. That's just it. You want to make sure that it's taken care of. You want to make sure you know where it is. Like you have a car and you're responsible for that car. So you have an alarm system on it. Nowadays we have trackers in our cars so we can know where our cars are. We could be out of town somewhere, but my wife checks to make sure our car is still at the airport. Right. So that's just being responsible. So I had to understand that my wife was not asking me because she wanted me to report to her. Right. You didn't want me to report to you just like you just got to tell me. But what it was that she cared about me.
Safety
and she was concerned about me because she's responsible for me. So she just wanted to know that if I said I'm going to the grocery store, and let's say the news comes on, I used to have a Volvo, and let's say she saw a car flipped over on I-10 somewhere, and it was a Volvo, then she wouldn't panic because she knows that I'm at the store.
Or even if you did have to do an audit and you weren't going to be on I-10, you were going to be on 59 North. Okay, I'm a little bit relieved because it looks like his, but it's not his because he's not going to be on that side of town.
Right. So guys, husbands, your wife is not just trying to be the boss of you, trying to be your mother. That's not it. More than likely, all she's saying is that I care enough to want to know where you are and to make sure that you're safe. Because she's responsible for you just like you are responsible for her. So make sure that, let's try to dial it back some guys and realize that, and don't get me wrong, it can be frustrating. It is irritating. Oh, where you going? Oh, what you going to do there? Or it does get irritating, but take a breath back and understand that she's just trying to be responsible for you. And that's what I had to understand. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect now, but at least now I can take a breath and say she's just concerned about me. She's not trying to follow me or even accuse me of doing anything wrong.
Because what happens in the end of it, if something does happen to him, his family gonna be looking at your wife crazy. Because why didn't you know? Why didn't you see about him? Why didn't you go check? Well, that would alleviate a lot of problems if we just let one another know out of respect and concern for each other.
And I believe she said something about communication. So in a later episode, we'll talk about breaking the barriers of communication between a husband and wife. And she talked about abandonment. Yeah. And I think that is a mental issue that needs to be discussed and needs to be addressed with her. So
and not that I was because even with my father being the person that he was in marriage with my mom, I did have his parents. I did have my mother's parents that took care of me and made sure that I was okay. But still, every little girl wants to be a daddy's little girl. And so you maybe not feel abandoned, but you do feel like, well, why wasn't it this way or why wasn't it that way? But we will discuss that just to let people know. I had to come to the realization that I can't drag what happened with my father and myself into our marriage because it's not fair to him. He didn't treat me that way, and even if somebody else did, it's not okay to bring it into your marriage and say, hey, I'm going to project everything off on you. So can't do that.
And I think we had a conversation about how some of your past experiences, you were projecting those things on me.
Right.
And then when you realize I'm really messing my marriage up because I'm projecting something on him that he didn't even do.
Exactly.
And I was even unaware of.
Exactly. And so with that being said, we do want to encourage you all to send in questions. If there's anything that you want to discuss, if there's anything you want to ask us about, please we encourage you to send us questions, comments, concerns.
Yeah, because we want to share the wisdom that we've gained so far. And believe me, we're not there yet. We're still learning ourselves, but we would like to share with those that are coming up and are struggling in marriage. So what you can do for us right now is you can subscribe. Go on YouTube and make sure you hit the subscribe button. And when you hit the subscribe button, make sure you go watch episode 1, Foundation for Forever, episode 2, Choose Love is a Choice. You can like those. Then you can go on Instagram for lifelong love lessons and TikTok. Like our videos and subscribe because we want to help as many people as we can. Because marriage, love is possible for a lifetime. And that's our goal, is to love till death do us part. So we encourage you, like, subscribe for lifelong love lessons.